Hi, this is Megan from Bath Garden Center. Today's video is going to be about pollinators and plants you can plant in your yard that'll attract more pollinators. So Colorado is home of a lot of different pollinators. We've got about 946 different species of bees, 250 species of butterflies, 18 species of bats, and about 1,000 species of moths. So we've got a lot of different pollinators here. So it's important for us to provide these guys some plants that will provide them nectar and pollen. More than 70% of the world's flowering plants rely on pollination, so it is a huge impact what pollinators have in Colorado, in our gardens, and in worldwide. So we really want to keep that going because they're a huge part of how we eat and consume our foods, what's available to us, what plants we can still grow, because a lot of it would decimate without them. So basically what a pollinator is it's something that has to travel from plant to plant, flower to flower. That's taking nectar and pollen from a certain plant and transferring the pollen to another plant. So that's what makes a pollinator a pollinator. So number one, our pollinator that we really rely on is going to be the bumblebee, honeybees, those kinds of things. They're fuzzy and they do travel from flower to flower, so it makes them a huge pollinator. They will do that and visit so many flowers throughout the day. Going into flowers, collecting more pollen on the outside of their fuzziness just kind of helps keep it all together and keep it onto them while they're flying around to other flowers, and dropping more pollen into other flowers, just doing that big pollination process. We rely on bees so much for our survival, for food sources, for our plants that we see every day. We really need bees. So we really want to give them a proper place to pollinate and give them the nectar that they need to survive so that we can keep thriving as well. Pollinator to talk about today are the butterflies. They are an important pollinator, however, they don't pollinate nearly as much as a honeybee or something kind of fuzzy that flies around and goes inside of the actual flower. Butterflies are going to actually sit on top of the flower, take what they need, get their nectar, but only collecting a little bit of pollen since they're not going inside of that flower. So still important, and they do pollinate, they just don't pollinate nearly as much as some of our other pollinators. Moths are another good pollinator. It's the kind of same thing. They don't pollinate as much, but they still do pollinate. They're going to be one of our nocturnal pollinators, which means that they're going to come at night and pollinate the plants in the nighttime. So if you want to attract more moths, they are attracted to more kind of fragrant flowers, and they are attracted to more of a white color. So plant some white fragrant flowers in your yard if you want to attract the nocturnal pollinator, the moth. So beetles are actually one of our other pollinators. A lot of time people don't think that beetles are a pollinator, but they are. So how they pollinate is they'll start eating the petal of the plant, and then they'll defecate inside of the flower, and that's how they pollinate. Through that is their consumption and then the defecating into the flower. So they will do that a little bit from flower to flower to flower, but not that much pollination happens through that compared to hummingbirds and bees. One of our very big pollinators is going to be the hummingbird. So pollinators, like I said, travel from flower to flower. Hummingbirds will travel and visit thousands of flowers a day. They have to eat several times their weight to survive every day, which nectar is a huge part of their diet. So giving them that flower, giving them the plants that they can pollinate are very important for their survival as well as our survival. They will pollinate a little better just because they have like the perfect needle-shaped bill that'll just go into a whole flower, collect all of that, suck the nectar that they need to survive and to eat, and continue to pollinate, putting its bill into other plants. Hummingbirds are attracted to the color red, so red flowers that are good for pollinators will attract more hummingbirds to your yard. That's why you see a lot of times the hummingbird feeders are red. is because they're really intrigued by that color, so they are drawn more to it. So if you want more hummingbirds, you want to see more hummingbirds, try to plant a few more of your red pollinator plants. Wasps are also a pollinator. I know a lot of people don't like wasps, but wasps will pollinate and go into the flowers' blooms to get, nectar, but they just won't carry as much of the pollen onto them to other flowers. I mean, they still do a little bit of pollinating, but not as much as a honeybee would. So similar to the honeybee, bats are another big pollinator because they are fuzzy, and they will just carry a lot of pollen onto their fur, just like, a honeybee would. They are also going to be a nocturnal pollinator, just like our moths are going to be. So they are a huge pollinator. Over 500 species of the world's plants rely on a bat's pollination. So they are going to be a huge part of the pollination that happens worldwide. Bats also do help control the insect population. So the insects that you don't quite want around are going to get taken care of through bats. So if you like your bats, you can, provide them some pollinator plants and expect to see them at night and continue to pollinate your plants. Some good plants that pollinators are attracted to are going to be your allium, your wallflowers, your pasque flowers, your common sunflower, blue flax, pensimons. Those are just a few that are kind of some really good options. You also have like shrubs like butterfly bush and those kinds of things. Not all of these plants that I've listed are going to be planted around the same time. So pay attention to when you want to plant these things and how far they will bloom throughout the season, if they'll go just through the summer or into the fall. But make sure you're providing a big, nice time span of providing these pollinators pollen and nectar. Some other options that you can do for pollinator plants, a lot of times you can see seed packets that will say pollinator friendly, or they're pollinator plants, or for specific pollinators. So if you're looking for something, you don't have quite like a plant in mind that you would like to plant, you can always find those kinds of seeds. A few options of those kinds of wildflower seeds. These are going to be our Beauty Beyond Belief seed brand. So we've got a few different options here. This guy is going to talk about, it's going to be called Honey Source. So this is going to be specifically for bees and what bees are kind of looking for, what they're attracted to, the colors, the scents, all that kind of thing. So this is a good option for that. A lot of really pretty different flowers in these seed packets. We've also got a monarch choice, because butterflies, like I said earlier, are a huge source of our pollinators. So that's another option. You can also put this in if you want to see more butterflies in your garden, but it's pretty and it'll help out, the pollination and pollinators. Another one that we have, hummingbirds, pollinator, wildflower seeds. Hummingbirds are also going to be a very important pollinator, so you want to kind of bring them in, and they're also just really pretty, so attract those hummingbirds to your yard. So overall, it's very important for us to plant our pollinator plants, to keep our pollinators alive. It makes such a big difference just, planting a few plants in your yard and taking care of those, providing our pollinators some food and a space to pollinate is incredibly important for our survival, like I keep saying. So we want to promote more of those kinds of plants in gardening, and everywhere we kind of plant plants here is just important for our survival, and it's important for theirs. That's going to be the video today for our pollinators and kind of plants that you want to plant for our pollinators. Thank you for watching our video today. If you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call. We're more than happy to help.